you to MD Hair for sponsoring this video. MD Hair is a product that can help out those of us who suffer from hair thinning or loss, male or female, including myself, so I can't wait to try it out. MD Hair is the world's first medical grade hair regrowth treatment, customized to the exact cause and type of hair loss. I myself have been losing my hair for about 5 years now, and I know many of you are in the same boat. MD Hair sent me over the customized hair care serum, the customized hair wellness supplements, customized hair care shampoo, and conditioner. With your subscription, you also have unlimited 24/7 access to chat with dermatologists for real-time changes to your treatment. It's catered to you and your specific hair loss needs. Everyone's treatment is different because everyone's hair loss is different. You can send in photos and take tests to help you figure out what works best for you. Customize your hair regrowth treatment with MD Hair. Use my promo code EMPIRE70 to get your first month of customized products at 70% off. So click the link below in my description and start your hair regrowth journey today. Thanks again to MD Hair. Now back to the show.
Hello everyone and welcome back. My name's Caleb and I've got quite the episode for you. Mostly because I found one really cool unexpected find here in the house, and I completed one other large hurdle that we really had to overcome before the spring got here. So, or well, partially, almost got it complete. So let's step outside and we'll show you guys the first big hurdle. Now for those of you who've been around since last fall, you would have known that my lift has been a very large issue because there's lots to do on the Mansard roof, and it's about 45 feet in the air at the cornice and about 55 or so at the very top. And I don't like ladders that tall, so the lift has been a massive issue because it had an electrical fault, which got repaired today, or well, almost. There's one major component that was the fault, and that is the control unit or the basket. Back downstairs, this is where the control unit currently is. So this is the thing that was causing all the problems. So that means, even though the lift will run right now the way it is, I can only control it from the bottom. So I have to find a new version of this. Because my machine is about 20 years old, I have to find one that is compatible. So I have to find one that is about 20 years old, that is hopefully new, and then get myself back up in the air. So super happy to have that behind me, or almost behind me. Hopefully eBay and other sites have exactly what I'm looking for as far as that panel is concerned. So enough talk, let's get into some time lapses for the project I handled this week, which is a windowsill that was extremely rotten, and I'll be back with you guys to discuss all that. See you then. So after a really serious amount of work, this is what we're left with. And this is all massively deceiving. And it's deceiving because it took an absolute ton of work just to get the sill back in here. Now, I've explained this before, kind of here and there on the channel. It seems like anytime you tear any one thing apart, there's always 2 or 3 underlying issues that have to be repaired in the process if you really want to fix what's going on. And this project is obviously no different than that. It is not the exception to the rule whatsoever. So this is the new sill here, which I treated with a product called Wood Life, which you guys have seen me use in the past if you watched any of my other videos. It is a wood preservative and should make this sill last longer than the other one. This piece of wood is actually an old growth piece. It's from a church that's in my neighborhood. When I was picking up those pews, if you guys remember from forever ago, the guy had some of these ceiling rafters, which is what this is, and he was just basically going to throw them away. And I'm like, hey, free lumber, why not? Especially old growth. This is actually very close to what I just ripped out and replaced this with. So, but of course, to just replace the seal wouldn't be enough to fix the problem that was going on here. 1.5 rows of rock here was completely loose. Like, I was able to just pick them up with my hands. There was no prying, nothing like that. It was basically just sand in there at this point. The mortar heads, well, it's run its course. It was done. So I had to take a lot of these stones back up, take photos of them as I was taking them back up so I could get them back in the right order, and fill this entire core back up so the sill had something nice and flat to sit on top of. And of course, these sidewalls here too, you wouldn't believe how much mortar I actually had to push back in there. As you can see, there's pretty large gaps between the frame and the stone, and maybe even more so on this side. You can see kind of areas where it's just been open. And this is actually happening on a lot of the windows down here in the basement. Not as much upstairs because upstairs has brick walls, whereas the foundation here is also this limestone. So you get these gaps in between here, and a lot of draft and a lot of air comes through these gaps. Really, the windows weren't leaking air nearly as bad as this area. And it's the same thing kind of all around the place. So yeah, rebuilding this whole thing took quite a bit of time. A lot of that, of course, is in dry time. So for instance, like the Wood Life on the windowsill, needed about 1.5 days to actually really dry out. And it should prevent the one thing that the old sill had, which is lots of termite damage. So this is the old sill here, and you can see just how destroyed it is, especially down here at the bottom. I mean, you can just pick it apart with your hands. So yeah, pretty glad that's not there anymore. That piece is, well, it's not good for anything anymore. There's probably not much more than maybe 1 inch of decent wood on the entire piece. I will say though that these 2 windows here, down here in the basement, which is just underneath the dining room here, so it's the back bay of the house. These 2 windows probably are going to be the worst 2 out of any down here in the basement. Main reason being is when I bought the place, the roof on the 2nd floor up there leaked really bad. So it came down into the library, which I was working on a while ago, down into the dining room, which you guys have seen, and then onto this back wall here. So the water that rushed through this area was heavy and severe at times, bucket loads of water. So the fact that a lot of this survived the condition it did is kind of a miracle in itself, because who knows how long that leak persisted. Where the electrical boxes are now is where the original electrical box was, and the bottom of the electrical box had rusted through. So we've stopped the water, now we just gotta handle the rot. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely jobs like this that make this entire project take as long as it has been taking, because I want to be thorough as I go through this. Again, this building, I want to outlive me. This is one of the 2 casement windows that I pulled out from that area I was just working on. You see, they're pretty rough. There's been some rather gnarly cuts and modifications, let's say. This is probably almost 1/4 inch deep, where they had this little lock on it, so they dug this down so that could fit on there, which is not great. I understand wanting to have a window that would lock, but that just doesn't seem like the appropriate way to do that. The bottom's just kind of like everything at the lower portion. Seem to have sat in a little bit of water and are not doing great. This window is better than the other one. Here is the bottom of that one. And you can see it's missing quite a bit. Luckily, this isn't super duper soft. And most of it anyways isn't super duper soft. And a little bit of wood hardener, or the liquid wood in the Albitron wood filler should take care of most of this. Also, all the hardware for these two windows is in this little jar here. Soaking in some evaporust. It's a great little product. It's easy to just kind of fill a container, whatever container you want with it. Just set it to the side, let it set for a few days. Some of the hinges in here will probably have to sit a week because they're full on seized. Hopefully I can salvage most of them. I did get one to come out and work pretty well, but it took a lot of oil and grease and just everything trying to get it to move again. That's actually why these windows wouldn't shut very well in the first place, is because the hinges were full on seized. So when they would go to close it, the hinge wouldn't close and it would pull the screws out of the wood, which is another problem I have to fix as well before these windows can go back in. Did want to also mention this was one of the devices used to hold the window closed. They literally jabbed this through the sash and this was holding the window shut. You might have seen me remove it in the time lapse. Turns out this is a really nifty little screwdriver. And go figure, it actually fits most of the smaller old screws much better than any of my current screwdrivers. So I have a love for this little thing. I've only had it working and functional for a day, but it's something I keep finding myself putting in my pocket, walking around with, because it's such a handy little screwdriver. A nice wooden handle. So whoever ended up jabbing this into the sash, I think you guys lost out on a really nice little tool that fits all of the historic hardware in here perfectly. So big win on this little screwdriver. Let's go over the reason you probably clicked on this video. Certainly one of the coolest things I found while renovating this house, which is this here extremely lovely item. Now this was actually part of the window frame. This was the left part of the window frame, and this was the back, so the part that faced the stone. Can you tell which part was the bottom, where the water ran? You guessed over here, you're right. So this was the bottom, and that's why most of that area is really bad. So all I know about this is it's most likely an advertisement or a window display or window advertisement for somebody with who knows what first name or middle initial was here. As far as I can tell, the last name is Himpelman. And I believe it's two N's at the end, because there's ever so slightly a small sliver of the last N right here. Also, this was being used as a wedge, so this piece is actually disconnected and actually wasn't attached to it. This was on top of the window frame, so this was the top piece, whereas this was the left corner. I'm really drawn to this piece. The gold is still so very shiny. I don't know what type of gold paint this is, but it really held up well. Also, the black is very thick, and it seems they painted the whole thing gold and then went over with the black. And the letters are actually kind of almost embossed feeling because the black paint is so thick. Now, I still need to do a little bit of cleanup, and maybe I can get to where I can figure out what this letter is. It's possible it's another H. It kind of looks like there's black here. But it's impossible for me to tell and it's state that it is. We also have some more damage up here from rot and termites. So it's going to take me a while to figure out exactly what this thing says. But I'm almost positive this is an H. And who exactly knows what this letter is. But I kind of want to throw it to you guys. What do you think this advertisement was from? Any thoughts or ideas, or if you guys end up doing some research. I know a few of you guys that watch the videos are true internet detectives, and I would love to know what you guys think. It'd be really amazing to know whose shop this hung in. Even better if we could find a photo, that would be absolutely amazing. But to find a little piece of history, it's always amazing. By the way, if the window this came off of, this would have been the piece that we're looking at. So it would have been this piece of the frame right here. But yeah, it's just a really fun, interesting find. I haven't found too many super compelling pieces in the walls or part of the walls or anything else like that. But you know, here we are. I found something that I think is really, really cool. And it's also an interesting thought that would they have gone so cheap as to use somebody's old advertisement to frame the windows? Of course, I don't think that would have happened at the front of the house, but here in the basement, the very back of the house, they probably just used whatever they could find. And I suppose this old advertisement worked as good as any other random piece of lumber. And hopefully when I go ahead and do this window, maybe, just maybe, more of that advertisement is part of that frame. Oh, we'll have to wait and figure that out. So that's the end of the video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. I think there was a really good week as far as progress is concerned. Even though it looks like a small task, a big one was completed and more rot has been removed. The building is better this week than it was last week. And we got to find a cool little mystery, a piece of history that maybe we can find the details on. So as always, guys, thank you so very much for your continued support. So thank you, and I'll see you guys again next time. Bye-bye.